Okay. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah. So first start by telling me your name and how old you are.
Tanisha Holloman, 28 years old.
Okay. Let's see. So your job title and how long you've been doing this.
I'm a second year OBGYN resident, and I've been a resident for a year, almost a year and a half. I've been in medicine since 2009.
Okay. And do you work in a team or independent environment?
Work as a team.
Team?
I'm not on my own yet because I'm still in training.
So you just work with more experienced doctors? Like,
It's a hierarchy system. You have attending physicians whose license you work underneath, and then you have fourth years, third years, second years, and first years.
oh,
So fourth year is the highest ranking resident or house officer.
okay. Does this job cut into your personal life?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
How so?
My family is not located here in Florida. They're located, the closest family member I have is in Atlanta. Most of them are in Louisiana or Texas.
Oh, wow.
I'm in a relationship with someone who's in Maryland, who's also a resident.
Oh, wow.
So you just have to balance work and making sure you have enough time seeing them and talking to them, which I don't always have time to do because I'm always working, but residency is short-lived.
Yeah. I guess that goes into my next question of how your family likes your job.
I mean, they're happy that they have a doctor in the family. I'm the first one in the family, but my mom doesn't like it that she can't talk to me all the time, but I mean, she kind of knew what she was getting herself into. I did a lot of prepping, and I've been in school forever for this, so it's kind of like something they're used to by now.
Do your friends currently like ask you questions when they don't want to go to the doctors? They do?
Yes, they take pictures of everything from broken toes to blood clots in the toilet to contraception, which one should I take, to my sister has a previa and is contracting, how should we manage her?
And you feel okay like answering those?
I feel like because I'm here and I see a lot of crazy stuff, yes, and if it's something I'm not 100% clear on or I don't remember, I can just look it up quickly and feel like I have enough knowledge to be able to talk to them about it at this point.
Okay. What do you like least about your job?
The time constraints, the hierarchy. It's needed, but sometimes, you know, I tend to be a pretty independent person, so nobody likes being a resident and being told what to do all the time. But it comes with the job because, you know, people's patients' lives are in your hands, so it's necessary. It's a safety mechanism. Yeah, but sometimes it gets to be a bit much. You know, medicine is structured differently than you would in like corporate America. So there's things and ways that we interact in medicine that's going to be different than you would at your general office. So, but it's because the stakes are a lot higher.
How long do you have to be a resident?
It depends on what you go into. The shortest residency is about 3 years. So things like pediatrics, pathology, family medicine, those are 3 years. OBGYN is 4. General surgery is 5. The longest residency is 7 years, which is neurosurgery. And most of the time, even with neurosurgeons, they do a fellowship afterwards.
What's that?
Fellowship is additional specialized training. So when you go to a specialist, you go to somebody who's going to additional training after residency. So in my case, I want to do a specialty. I want to do maternal fetal medicine. That's an additional 3 years after residency. And then, of course, some people want additional training after that. So if I wanted to do fetal surgery and operate on babies inside the womb, that's an additional 2 years after that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how far you want to go.
It depends on what you want to do and how far you want to go with it.
Okay. What was your major in college?
I went to Xavier University in New Orleans, so
Spell that.
it's Xavierr
Vieer.
University
Oh wow. In Louisiana.
in New Orleans, Louisiana. Yes, it's a historical black college.
Wow.
And I was a biology major with a chemistry minor. We were pretty traditional with our choices, but I went to med school with people who were anthropology majors.
You went to med school here?
No, I went to undergrad there. I went to med school in the University of Rochester.
Ooh.
Yeah, University of Rochester in Rochester, New York.
My mom was telling me about that place.
Yeah, no,
I want you to go there, and I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about yet.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a really good school.
Did you have to get like any licenses or credentials other than school before this job to be able to do residency?
So the general track to become a resident is, of course, you go to undergrad. For 4 years pre-med or whatever your major is, as long as you take your pre-med prerequisites. Then you apply to med school, which is 4 years. I finished 5 years because I did a year of research in between my second and third year at NIH in Bethesda. And then I went to, once you get your MD, you can go to residency. So there was nothing, medical doctorate.
Oh, okay.
Some people opt to, while they're in med school, to get other dual degrees. So they can get an MBA, you can get a JD, you can get a PhD. So there are programs like that too.
Okay. What's the most important characteristics and skills you need to be successful in this field?
I would say tenacity. You have to have perseverance. You have to be disciplined. Just because, especially as a female, you have to have it mentally in your mind that you know you're going to have to sacrifice things ahead of time. So I'm not going to have children at the average age that my other friends are going to have children. It's probably going to be something later. You know, I'm probably going to have to relocate multiple places. I'm not going to be able to, some people do, but may not necessarily stay in the same place. You kind of have to go where the opportunity is. So I think things like that, kind of being realistic with yourself and knowing that being a physician, while it can be very rewarding, it can definitely be challenging because nothing is ever guaranteed. You can still go to undergrad and not necessarily get into medical school, or you can go to medical school and not necessarily match into a position. So you have to do the best, you know, do your best in school to put yourself in the best position to be successful. So you have to be determined.
What's the most rewarding for you about your work aside from salary?
Well, right now I don't really make a whole lot to talk about one day, but I think it's touching people and people feeling like you either A, changed their life or you made an impression on them. I think that's the most rewarding. People have a profound amount of trust in you from the moment you hit the door without even knowing them. And so I like the secrecy. I like being able to know things that their closest family members don't know about them. I like when I get to deliver babies and I'm the first person that
they see. That's exactly what I think.
Yeah. So that's always cool. Being able to be like, when somebody said thank you for saving my child's life or thank you for saving my life, I think always it's unique and it makes you feel special.
So awesome that you said that. That's exactly what I think. The toughest problems you have to deal with this job?
Giving bad news. OB is mostly happy, but it can be very, very sad. You know, female cancer is not, it's one of those that, like ovarian cancer, when it's really, really bad, most of the time you catch it late and it can kill you. There's some of the sickest patients in the hospital. So sometimes it's sad dealing with those patients. When a baby doesn't do well, like a baby either codes or is in a coma after it delivers or stays in the NICU for a really long time, that can be hard. But if you go in with a certain amount of expectation that not everything is going to be a great outcome, you just do your best. And if you, for some reason, something happens wrong, you learn what you can from it and try to be there for your patients and be comforting for them. I think the hardest thing sometimes as women is we have to make sure that we don't get too callous or too hard, because our training forces us to have to be hard and not too overly sensitive and things like that, because you have to be able to take care of people. You have to be able to divide the emotions sometimes from just doing your job. So making sure you can always keep a connection with your patients is important. Because there's times you're going to be tired and you're not going to want to talk a whole bunch, and you just need, you have 50,000 people to take care of, and you just have to remember to be human.
Yeah. What are some of your work obligations outside of an ordinary work week?
So in residency, you still have to study. And we have pre-aug exams every year, so that would be January of every year for OBGYN residents. If you want to do fellowship, you still have to do research. You still have to try to publish papers. You still have to just read just to know how to take care of your patients. So they always want you reading.
You have to like always stay up.
Always start up to date. You always have to be reading and knowing what's going on. Because, unfortunately, especially if you go into private practice and you become a generalist, there's going to be things that you're not going to see. Like if I decide to be, let's see, a gynec doctor, I don't deliver babies anymore. So that's a knowledge that I'm going to lose because I'm not doing that constantly all the time anymore. So just being able to soak up as much as possible, because it's like the same thing when you go through med school. You rotate through peds and all these other rotations. That's the most knowledgeable you're going to be about every aspect of medicine. After that, it just becomes more specialized.
If you were in college again, what would you do different?
And that's a good one. What would I do different? I think for the most part I was pretty focused in college, and I definitely had my fun times, but I think I probably would have taken more opportunities to try to travel outside of the country. I think I would have maybe spent more time in undergrad, like maybe I would have spent a year abroad, or maybe worked before I even went to med school, because I do think it grows you a little bit. It kind of matures you when you get to work into the real world and then you come into medicine. Because sometimes, you're with people who've been in school their entire lives and never really had a lot of real life experiences. Yeah. So I think getting those real life experiences before you go into this type of field really helps you, because it helps you to have a more broader perspective.
Okay. Let's see. What other occupations did you consider before this job?
Oh, that's a good one too. I thought I wanted to be a newscaster. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer for a quick second. I would say like a video music producer, like a music video producer. I was like, I think I could do that. If I had the guts, I probably would have went for it. The guts and the money. So yeah, I would say a producer, a newscaster, or a lawyer.
Really? That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm gonna double check and make sure, cover all my bases. Oh, how did you come to Winnie Palmer? Like, what brought you to Winnie Palmer?
So when you're in med school, your first 2 years at most traditional schools is in the classroom. At Rochester, we did clinical work starting our first year, but mostly we were in the classroom. And then your third and your fourth year, it's clinical. It's rotating through peds, surgery, medicine, OBGYN, those type of rotations. And so your fourth year, you spent most of your time doing your rotations in the fields that you like. Like if you want to do OB, a lot of people go other places and do rotations. And then you're applying for residency. So you go through a match process that's in March of every year. There's about 60-something thousand residents that they submit their applications all over the country. They interview from about October to January. They submit a rank list, meaning they put from 1 to whatever their favorite programs, and then the programs they interview like if they interview 50 people, they arrange those 50 people and the people they like the most from 1 to 50, and then the computer matches you.
Oh, wow.
And so if a program ranks you number one and you rank that program number one, then that's a match. And let's say you're number one and you're number two, they didn't rank you high enough.
Yeah.
And it just kind of keeps going down on your list. And so for me, I end up matching here at Winnie Palmer. But I had a classmate who left from Rochester and came here for residency, so that's how I knew about the program.
Oh, wow. Do you like Florida?
I like Florida, but I've had an opportunity to kind of move around a few different places. So I think it's kind of adding a book to the chapter, a chapter to the book. But I've gotten a lot of great experiences. It's a high volume institution, which is what I was interested in, of seeing a lot of craziness that comes here to at Winnie Palmer Hospital. But I think ultimately I probably will move elsewhere since I have no family really here.
Let's see, what do you do in free time?
Free time, I love watching trash TV.
Really?
Yeah. I guess reading when I'm supposed to be reading, or writing some type of paper. Visiting my boyfriend or visiting my family. I do travel a lot in the U.S. I fly a lot. I'm always somewhere. I'm always flying. That's why I'm headed to the airport in a few hours.
Well,
Yeah.
have you been to Disney?
I have not been to Disney here. I've been to Disney in my lifetime, but I have not been to Disney since I've been here, just because I'm really busy. But I really do want to go to Universal. I've been to Universal City Walk, but I haven't been to Universal in a long
theme
time.
park?
Yeah, I haven't been to Universal in a long time. So
That's crazy.
yeah, I haven't really done it. I've been to Disney, like the like boardwalk area, but I haven't been to actual Disney.
Oh, okay.
No, maybe when I have some family that comes in town and I have time to go with them, I'll go. But
I think that's it. I think that's all I need.
Any questions you have for me in particular, not
You
related to your
literally
assignment?
answered all mine. How was your day after I left?
Oh, it was fine. It's always really, really busy in triage. Like, this is not a normal situation. Like, when you go to a hospital, triage is sometimes a few beds, like maybe 4 to 6 beds that they see and assess pregnant women, and that's pretty much the gist of it, and everything else really goes to the emergency room. But that's like a whole ED of its own. And so I just want you to know that that's not the norm.
Yeah.
So it's always busy. I mean, I've come in one time and I've had 26 people waiting outside, and I've got all my rooms full. You see that at ORMC. Sometimes you'll have 20, 30, 40, 50 people waiting. So it's crazy. This place is very crazy. It's very busy, but I like it. At the end of the day, I like it. You have to like what you want. If you don't like what you do, I would not, if you don't like medicine, like, not even like it, if you don't love it, if this is not like the only thing you wish you could do, I would say make sure you keep your options open. The sky's the limit. You can do anything that you want to do. Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do. For me, I felt like I wanted to be a doctor because I don't like people telling me what to do. So I'd rather be the one calling the shots.
Yeah.
If you want to be a nurse because that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to be a nurse practitioner, be a nurse practitioner because that's what you want to do. Don't be a nurse practitioner or a nurse because you're just too scared to be a doctor, or you didn't feel like you were good enough to be a doctor. That's kind of how I do things. If I had a daughter, I would tell her the same exact thing. At the same time, I think just make sure you explore all your options, and if it's what you really want to do, you go for it. You go for it. I mean, I enjoy it. It's a sacrifice, though. You're putting off making money for a long time.
Yeah. Do you get paid for residency?
You do get paid.
It's just
I think the average salary for residents now ranges from like $30,000 to like maybe $60,000, depending on where you are in the country and the cost of living. So you can, you make money to be able to like kind of pay loans and stuff like that, but you're not banking.
Yeah.
Maybe if you live at home and you have no overhead. But for the most part, yeah, like I was supposed to get paid this morning, and I didn't see it hit my account yet, so I'm a little concerned because I'm going out of town, and I need to put some money in my account. But other than that, that's it.
How long does it take to pay off loans?
It depends on how much you end up with. So, seriously, they really didn't even put money in my account. Some people pay them off till they just pay it like it's a mortgage. And it all depends on how much they went into school with, how many loans they took when they were in school, what school they go to, and how much did it cost, what career did they go into, did they go to a high-paying career, did they go to a low-paying career. But I mean, there's some people that literally, when they get out of residency, their husband and them, they literally get together and they're like, we're going to live very meagerly for a few years and just put all our money towards our loans and pay it off.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty good idea.
But that's if you're in a situation where, you know, if you, like, for example, if you have two physicians, you have two physician incomes, and you don't have a bunch of kids, you can do that.
Yeah.
But for the average person, that's not what everyone can do. But I would say don't go into medicine worried about the debt.
Yeah.
Because it will deter you every time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's all I
That's
need.
it.
Yes.